Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-6789.
Welcome in, Mountaineer fans, to the Press Virginia podcast with Coach Billy Hahn. I'm Anthony Lewis, and the show is brought to you by our friends at the Warner Law Office. Give them a call today at 304-345-6789. Also sponsored by United Bank, West Virginia's bank, Alfred Home Solutions, and is produced in partnership with the Charleston Gazette-Mail. I'm Anthony Lewis in the studio in Nitro, West Virginia, and joined by Coach Billy Hahn in the University City of Morgantown, West Virginia. How you doing, Coach?
Anthony, I am doing good. I'm trying to stay thawed out because it's so cold and nasty up here in Morgantown. Had a lot of snow this morning. I bet we got 5 inches over the night, but didn't get the ice that you guys got down there in Charleston. I don't think.
No, it was icy this morning, and so you're pretty familiar. I know you've got a Twitter account, and
right.
I believe you have a Facebook page, so you stay in the social media world. Do you see the craziness that goes on when it snows in Morgantown from the students?
Unbelievable. I'll tell you what, man.
There was a video.
It's hard to drive around here, Anthony.
It was a video of a student, and I don't know what he's in. I can't tell if it's like I don't know. It's sliding down the street. It looks like it's in the new Sunnyside area, and he's sliding, and he slides, and he abandons ship, and whatever he's in runs right into the front of a police car. And, of course, he tries to take off and run and doesn't get too far. But, man, the students definitely take advantage of the wintertime and the snow in Morgantown, so kudos to them. But
they like to sled.
Yeah. I'm sure they're staying warm with them. I'm sure they've got a little flask or something in their jacket keeping them.
I would think so, yeah.
But definitely. We're not here to talk about the West Virginia students, but we are here to talk about West Virginia basketball. And when we last met, we were getting ready to go on a 6-game run that we had never seen before with the schedule. And West Virginia comes out of that part 2-2 with an overall record of 14-5, 7-3 in the conference, sitting in second place with wins over Kansas and at Texas Tech. And let's start with the Kansas game, Coach. Well, first of all, let me get your response. How do you think this team is playing right now over the last 2 games?
Well, I think the Texas Tech game on Tuesday night was the best our team has played this season. And here's my thing, Anthony. If before the Texas Tech game, if somebody came up to you and said, hey, Taz Sherman's not going to play tonight at all. And, by the way, Derek Culver and Deuce McBride are going to sit out the majority of the second half because of foul trouble. How many people would have said that we were going to win that game?
I would not have been one of them. I would have.
There's no way, Anthony. I sat here, and I didn't know that Deuce. I didn't know that Taz Sherman was not going to play. I sat in here. I heard that, and then those guys got in foul trouble. I said to my wife, I said, Kathy, there's no way we can win this game. And all of a sudden, a huge 3-point by McNeil, a huge 3-point by Jalen Bridges, great play, defensive play by Gabe down the stretch. I mean, it was a total team victory the other night. It was so fun to watch.
Yeah, honestly, going into that game, We talked about it last week. We thought if West Virginia could go 3-3, that would be outstanding going into this run. I did not predict. A win at Texas Tech. You're talking about going on the road in the Big 12, and it's not that I don't believe in this basketball team, but Coach, you know how damn hard it is to go on the road in this league, and especially a team in the top 10 and win. It's damn near impossible. And this West Virginia team just finds a way to do it, and they're just finding a way to get it done with all the odds and all the cards stacked against them. You're talking about, like you said, McNeil comes out of the gate. He plays 36 minutes the other night, scores 26 points. Who would have thought that was going to happen?
Yep, unbelievable, man. And I tell you what now, you talk about a guy that hits some tough shots. Man, he hits some hard shots now. It's not like they were naked looks.
Yeah, he had guys in his face, bumping him, on him, and was banging shots. And I'll tell you what, and I think you'll agree with me, and he's one of the purest shooters I've seen at West Virginia. I think Casey Mitchell was a great shooter. I'm talking in the Bob Huggins era. I'm not talking the John Beeline or even the Gail Catlett era. He's one of the purest shooters West Virginia's had. But again, just like any shooter, there's times where he gets cold. But the thing about it is, there's unlike even like the Casey Mitchell era, there are other shooters around him that can kind of pick it up. And Miles McBride, Deuce is just on fire right now.
Well, I'm a little concerned because you're speaking of social media. I was on my Twitter account and on Facebook today, and now they're starting to talk. Will Deuce stay another year? Will Deuce come back and stay another year, or will he go out? Will he go to the NBA? Will he put his name in? Well, the majority of people, obviously, they're fans and they want him to stay, but everybody thinks the best thing he could possibly do for himself is to stay another year. That they think that another year would be great. They think if he stays another year, he'd be a top 15 pick in the NBA after next season, which I think that's pretty accurate.
I would think that historically, people would know to listen to Coach Huggins. You're going to have guys that have the wrong people in their ear. We've seen it happen. Tell these kids to go the wrong direction. Deuce has a history of pro athletes in his family. I believe his father was a pro overseas. I'm assuming, I don't know his family, that he has the right people around him and he would listen to Coach Huggins. If this young man is going to be a top 15 pick next year or this year in the NBA draft, Bob Huggins is going to tell that young man, it was great coaching you. I'll be rooting for you.
Exactly.
Coach Huggins is not going to tell a kid to come back to benefit him if he knows this young man can go immediately and make money in the NBA in the right situation. Because second-round draft picks don't usually make rosters.
That's exactly right.
So if another year benefits him,
except from being Javon Carter.
Well, that young man's played with the cards stacked against him his whole career.
Sure has.
He's just, but he's one in a million. He's got the right work ethic, and I'm not saying that Deuce doesn't, but Javon Carter is just another. You just don't see kids like him or players like him. And I say kids because I'm old and I still see a 22-year-old as a kid, but you don't see young athletes a lot like him. So he's just something special. But West Virginia goes on the road, wins 82-71 in Lubbock, but the Jayhawks come to Morgantown, fans in the building, and
are you coming up, Anthony? Are you coming?
I thought about maybe Saturday. I've got my daughter. She's not a big sports fan.
Right.
But her sister lives in Morgantown now. Layla, my daughter has an older sister that's not my child, but she has an older sister, and she lives there now. Not a student; she's an adult, and so it might make it a little easier. If I don't make it this weekend, I'm definitely going to try to make it the following weekend. And I forget who, or is it Texas comes to town on the 20th?
I think Texas is next in town. Yes.
Yeah, so I may make it up for the Texas game. So my schedule's very fluid right now, but dragging her to Morgantown Saturday, if she's not up for it, I'm not going to force her. But, with her sister there now, it makes it a little easier. But the Jayhawks roll into town last Saturday. West Virginia prevails 91-79 in the Coliseum, puts another $25,000 in the Norma May Huggins Foundation bank account, because if I remember correctly, Coach Huggins donates that bonus to his mother's foundation. So thank you, Coach Self and the Kansas Jayhawks. And I think we talked about it leading up to the game. That's not your typical Jayhawks team. This team is down. I'm shocked, and I think it goes back to this West Virginia team still trying to find itself when we went to Lawrence. But if we were going to Lawrence this Saturday, I think West Virginia would knock them off in Lawrence.
Right. We know we've won. Anthony. We've won 5 out of our last 6 games. We've won 5 in a row.
On a roll. So let me ask you. Let me throw a couple questions at you. First and foremost, we were worried about this stretch. We were hoping for them to come out 3-3. We're just trying to be realistic. That would be a big goal. 4-2 would be excellent. But now they don't have to play Baylor. Do you think they're going to get that game rescheduled? Have you heard anything? What are your thoughts on that?
I've not heard anything. Week after the regular season, and there's a full week available before the Big 12 tournament. And I heard they purposely did that, but they have to reschedule some games. So that's what I'm looking at.
Do you think it would be needed at that point to play? I mean, I guess
you know what? I think that would hurt us.
Yeah, I Yeah, I can't imagine West Virginia wanting to play those games. If it'd be different if Baylor only had a 1-game lead, but at that point they're going to have, at least a 3-game lead. So we can't even catch them to win the regular season. I would say scrap it. We'll see you in the championship in Kansas City, and I'm hoping that's what the Big 12 does.
Well, if let me ask this, Anthony: if you're Baylor, do you want to play? I wouldn't want to play if I was Baylor. Why would you?
No. I don't think it benefits either team. I mean, other than just have a game, and for fans to see it on television.
Right.
And maybe just to fill each other out for the tournament. But if you would be forced to play 2 games and then go to Kansas City, I believe is it a double bye for the first top 2 teams?
Right.
If you can stay in second place, then you possibly meet up again in the championship. I just don't know how it benefits either program.
Exactly.
But maybe for television. But with that being said, West Virginia will play and have a 7-day window off to play Texas. I think that can potentially help West Virginia. And, of course, in the second segment, Randy Meador is going to join us. You probably don't know him by name. You would definitely know him by face. But he's going to give us an update on maybe some of the injuries and some of the things that have happened to the players through the course of the season. We'll do that in segment 2, but it would definitely give this team time to rest a little bit before playing Texas.
Yeah, but he'll be really good. He'll be very informative to talk about the injuries we have, the rehab that's going through, and he'll be very interested to talk about when we had to shut it down with the COVID. I mean, Randy Meador's besides the trainer, we all call him Doc because he's basically our doctor,
Right.
Besides taking ankles, I mean, he does everything. So he'll be a very good guest.
Let me ask you this. Chris Beard.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you think of his ejection the other night?
I thought it was tremendous. I thought, I thought, I thought he deservedly got teed up because of him going through the motions or going and sitting down and showing the referee what the guy was doing. Which, to be honest with you, that's exactly what Deuce was doing. I think Chris Beard had a good beef because I don't think Deuce McBride got fouled. I really don't. I think there was a loose ball. I think they both went down to get it. Deuce was just getting ready to call timeout when they called a foul on Texas Tech. I guess they called a foul because they thought he jumped on top of him, whatever. But, Chris Beard thought Deuce was calling timeout before they called the foul. So that's what he was doing. So here's the classic. Here's what's classic to that whole thing. That thing's gone viral. And I text Chris Beard after the game immediately. The whole thing that I really had liked was as he's going after the referees in his heated moments, he has enough class and respect to go down to hugs and fist bump hugs. That was classic.
Yeah, that was. I think that was to kind of let him know this isn't about you or your team.
Yeah.
This is more about me right now. And I thought it was. And this happens a lot. I'm sure you've been ejected from games. He's down 6 with 20 seconds. I believe West Virginia had the ball. It was basically the ball game. He was going to make a point.
Right.
And I've
Right.
seen, and we've seen Huggins do it before. Just
Absolutely
make a point. And so, speaking of Bob Huggins, I made this point. I do a weekly appearance on Dave Weekly's statewide talk show, and I said, and you can agree or disagree, but my statement was, I think Bob Huggins should be the Big 12 Coach of the Year with the coaching job that he's done at West Virginia. And then my first thought was people were probably listening saying, what is he talking about? West Virginia's loaded. They were expected to be good. But I've never seen a coach have to change gears and lose an All-American, play a McDonald's All-American, 6 games into it, and literally have to turn his team around and then continue to win like Coach Huggins has done.
You know what? If you evaluate what everybody's done this year in the league coaching-wise, if all of a sudden somebody tells Baylor 10 games into your season, we're going to take away an All-American on your team and a guy that's a vital part of your team, we're going to take him out of your lineup and watch him have to readjust and do everything like Huggs has. I mean, Huggs is absolutely amazing that now that's happened. And Huggs the other night after the game, deservedly so, Huggs is tired of everybody still talking about Oscar leaving. And he says, you know what? That's been a motivating factor for our basketball team. It's because they hear the TV announcers and they hear everybody still talking about Oscar. And he said, matter of fact, that's been helping us. That's been motivating us that they want to show everybody that which they have, we can win without Oscar, and we can win playing this way, which they've shown winning 5 games in a row.
Honestly, Coach, for me, Oscar seems so last season. I don't even think about him at all.
Seems like forever, doesn't it?
It does. It feels like a whole nother, a different season. And probably because the way this team has grown up so fast, you've injected Jalen Bridges, and we've seen him come on, and Taz Sherman's playing out of his mind. That almost seems like a whole nother, like it was last season. Honestly does. I don't even think about that young man. Something popped up on my face, or maybe it was my Instagram, and it was something with him, and that's the first time I had even thought much about him in weeks. How
about this? And you know what? And the last thing to throw in there is not only did that happen, but as soon as it happened, Isaiah Cottrell, blows out his Achilles tendon, and he's done for the season.
Yeah, you lose
another factor.
Yeah, another. Yeah, it's been. So I'm hoping the league recognizes that. Although Oklahoma's having a great season, they weren't expected, I don't believe, to be as good as they are. But I think Coach Huggins has definitely made it through the storm. How about the West Virginia women's team, Mike Carey and those ladies?
My gosh, are they on a roll? Yeah.
I watched them last night against Kansas, but honestly, last night, and you can hear him, Mike, he yells, and there was not a lot of people in the Coliseum last night, and you could hear him. They were kind of sleepwalking against a 3-7 conference Kansas team, and they sleptwalked through it, and he was not happy. And even I think I tweeted out from my personal Twitter account, Bob Huggins and Mike Carey hate halftime interviews.
I saw that.
They have the same demeanor. He gave a Bob Huggins style answer, but it was definitely a Mike Carey answer. But what do you think of that? They're rolling right now.
Yeah, they are really playing good. I'll tell you, they have a great team chemistry. I think what everybody has to have, and I think they like each other. Mike likes coaching this team. It's amazing when a coach likes his team and the players like each other and get along. It's amazing what happens.
Yeah, they haven't lost since like December or something like that.
Yeah, correct.
I would love to see him hang another banner. He's already got one. I'd like to see him
That'd
get
be
another
nice.
one. Yeah, they're on a roll.
Nice.
So if you're a Mountaineer basketball fan, I highly suggest you go and watch the women. I know it's a different game. There are some people that don't like the women's game, but whatever. But honestly, I watch West Virginia sports. With ESPN Plus, I get wrestling. When my daughter's here, I'll turn on the gymnastics, and maybe that'll, somehow influence her to be a gymnast. I don't know, but I love watching WVU sports, and I watched baseball in the spring. I'm just a Mountaineer sports junkie, so I encourage everyone to watch them. All right, we're going to take a break.
Go ahead. Yep.
We'll take a break, but write this phone number down: 681-231-2632. Again, that's 681-231-2632. That is the phone number to text for the Del Sparks Collection Text to Win trivia question. In the second half of the show, I'm going to throw out a trivia question. If you text the correct answer back, the first person to send the correct answer back wins an 8x10 from the Dale Sparks Collection. And if you're not familiar with what Dale Sparks has done, go over to his Facebook page. He's got all of the major moments in WVU sports history captured on film, and it's a great collection to have and a great gift for anybody out there. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, Randy Meador will be joining us. We'll do that after this.
A wet, damp basement can be a real problem that can worsen asthma and allergies. Alford Home Solutions will transform your basement into a dry, usable space and improve the air quality in your entire home. Visit alfordhomesolutions.com for a free estimate.
You've been in an accident. It's time to call Warner Law Offices. We've recovered millions and millions of dollars for car accident victims. Don't settle for the insurance company's low offer. Call us today. No upfront cost, free consultation, and no fees until we win your case. Warner Law Offices, when you need justice.
Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-678-9.
A new day begins, and what happens today must be covered, reported, and passed on to everyone in the region we serve. We bring the world in our region to your computers, your phones, your business, and your home. We cover news of the day and life as it exists in your world. Who are we? We are HD Media, trustworthy and always here for the times we live in.
Do you have cold floors in your home? It may be time to insulate your crawl space because cold air is rising into the rest of your home. Alford Home Solutions can fix this problem. Go to alfordhomesolutions.com today to book your free insulation estimate. Don't wait. Insulate.
What's going on, everybody? This is Deshaun Butler, and you are listening to the Press Virginia Podcast with Coach Billy Hahn.
Welcome back to the Press Virginia Podcast with Coach Billy Hahn. I'm Anthony Lewis. And don't forget, our friends at Alford Home Solutions can help you out if you have cold floors in your home. It may be time to insulate your crawl space because the cold air is rising into the rest of your home. Alford Home Solutions can fix this problem. Go to alfordhomesolutions.com for a free estimate. Winter is here. Don't wait. Insulate. And joining us on the phone from the University of Morgantown, West Virginia, head athletic trainer Randy Meador. How you doing, Randy?
Great.
So I was in the first segment. I was telling people, I said, when I say that name, you may not exactly know the name, but you're going to know the face. I was telling somebody today, you've probably been on television more than any other WVU coach or player in WVU basketball history.
Well, I guess that's a good thing to be proud of. Yeah, I've never counted up the games yet. I've said sometime I need to do that, or maybe on a long flight. But yeah, I've got a few games under my belt.
Yeah, you've been there 35 years at West Virginia, if I read that correctly.
Yeah, yep, I think so.
You know, you can retire, in 25 years? Foremost, tell everybody, all the listeners, exactly what you do for the WVU basketball team.
Well, in a typical year, I take care of their injuries, try and prevent their injuries, do a lot of taping, a lot of stretching. Once the injury occurs, try and, recognize the injury, determine whether it needs referred to a physician or not, then obviously treat it and rehabilitate it. So this year, with the COVID, I feel like they refer to me as Fauci. So that's another real nice nickname because I know what they mean by that. And at every huddle, they look at me and I say, "Oh, testing at 9:30 at the rec," and then they cuss at me under their breath or sometimes out loud. And so with the COVID, there's a lot of added things that occur this year that no one likes, including me. But we're getting through it, and we're playing games, and we're doing pretty well. So,
Hey, Doc, this is Billy. First of all, thanks for coming on. This is awesome. And I really appreciate it. A couple of things for you. You all those years you've done West Virginia basketball, all the coaches you've been through. Every coach does it a little bit different, obviously. You've had Catlett, you had Beeline, and you've had Hugs, and you had Dan Dakich for a week. So
I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah, you
remember that week.
How tell the listeners just sort of how it's been, because each one of those coaches has different personality, how they wanted things done, how things are one coach compared to the other, if you don't mind.
Well, with those variety of coaches, I've had from a self-proclaimed micromanager to one that, trusts you and lets you do what you want, but at times may be demanding. And, obviously, as long as I've been doing it, I was young at one time. And so you got to figure your way out and what works and what doesn't work and be moldable at times. And then I feel like I get along well with other people. And hopefully that's been something that's kept me here as long as possible, to be able to work with all the different personalities and everything. They all have obviously different strengths and weaknesses in how they deal with me or, the athletic trainer, and how they deal with injuries. But, obviously I've enjoyed it, or I wouldn't have been here this long. And it's been great to work not just with the different coaches and everything, but also, with this university. It's kind of the flagship university of the state. So,
Doc, let me ask you this. Tell our listeners what is special about this basketball team that you're dealing with right now. Why we've won 5 in a row, why we've won 5 out of 6, and why we're in second place by ourselves right now. Why is this team sort of special?
I think, we've had different issues, from the transfer to the COVID to the shutdown to coming back. We've been pretty good on the injuries. Obviously, we had one here this last game. But I think they're really just finding themselves and starting to trust each other on the court. They're good people and they're good friends off the court. But I think there was just like, do I do this? Do I what am I? I think now they're just really coming together,
right?
Instead of questioning and thinking about the next play or what the next pass or what the next thing is to do, or overthinking. You used to even use this, I'm pretty sure. Overanalyzation causes paralyzation.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I think there's a lot less of that, and they're out there having a little bit more fun and playing a little bit and literally playing instead of thinking.
Right.
And in doing that, I think they've kind of discovered themselves and have much better chemistry right now.
Doc, you've been around a long time too. It's amazing that you can't put a price on team togetherness, teams that like each other, coaches that likes coaching their team. Bob Huggins is a happy coach right now. He likes coaching this team. He really does.
No, you're right.
I think that's important.
Oh, definitely. You're right, and it shows. And, you can have, all the 5 stars and different sizes and all that and everything, but if they don't get along or don't play well together or don't practice well together, it's going to be worthless. It's just names and sizes in a program. But, when people get together and work together and have fun together, then you really got something.
Right. Hey, so all the years you've been doing it, Doc, all the games, have you ever missed a game? Have you ever not been at a game?
No, I haven't missed one game.
You've never missed a game in 25 years?
No, 2 kids, a couple surgeries.
Yeah.
European, overseas, I've never missed a game.
Good for you, Doc. That's awesome.
Yeah. That was one thing coming into this year. Like, if someone contact traced me, they're going to have a hard time. I have not missed a game. I'm pretty proud of that, and I'd like to keep it that way. So, 1, I don't want to get sick, and 2, I don't want to be contact traced. So I stay a pretty good distance away from people, and I don't want it to jeopardize my record. So,
that is an amazing record.
Yeah. I try and stay healthy. I really enjoy it. Obviously I'm an athletic trainer, but I have a competitive spirit too. Winning at Texas Tech, that was a big game to me. There's certain games that are, weigh a little bit more and feel a little better winning and everything. And I enjoy it. That's why I'm a athletic trainer and, not working in a clinic or something like that. I still have the competitive spirit.
Hey, Doc, how's Isaiah Cottrell's Achilles tendon coming, surgery and everything? Is that progressing like you think it should?
Yes. Now, unfortunately, we're just at 5 weeks out, so there's not a lot we can do. We're still protecting that area.
Right.
He has gotten rid of the crutches, so he is weight bearing in his boot, and he is progressing very nicely. But the amount of progression that you can have in the first 5 to 6 weeks is limited. So, but I think he's going very well. He's a pleasure to work with. He has good work ethics, and hopefully we'll continue to move forward.
When will he probably be back 100%, Doc? How long does that injury take?
Each physician has a different length in their protocol.
Right.
Our team physician that did the surgery, his protocol is approximately 6 months. So
6 months, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Now some people are going to say it's going to take longer. Having them back out there is one thing. Having them back out there with no rust and confidence could be another thing.
My last question to you is this. I don't think I've ever asked you this. How and who and how did you get the name Doc besides Randy Meador?
Selden Jefferson.
Selden Jefferson. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Selden Jefferson, point guard out of New York.
Yep.
He's one of those guys that had a personality. So,
yep.
You had to like him, even when you were mad at him sometimes. But, he started all that. I'd say probably, I don't know, 94, 95.
Unbelievable. That's where it started, huh?
Yeah, that's where it started. And, I don't advertise it. I don't mind it. But, it can get confusing when, Dr. Ballsick or Dr. Ball's here. But,
I love it.
I guess I like it better than Fauci. So,
Doc, you've been around the program for a long time. What's it? And you kind of hit on a little bit. You talk about your competitive spirit, and you're just as much of the program as anyone. Any of the coaches, you put your time in there at the facility, and you're emotionally invested in this team, just because you're there.
Absolutely. Yep.
Can you just talk about that and the ups and downs and? You're not there just to tape ankles. You're in it for the win, just like they are.
You're exactly right. You look at today. I got here at 8 a.m. and it's going to be after 8 o'clock before I leave. And that's a 12-hour day. And I can sit here and complain about it, or I'm going to go home actually in a pretty good mood because I think we got some people better today. And although it was a long day and maybe we didn't have the best practice and they're not back 100%, like I said, I think today was a good day because we made gains, we made progress. And to me, that I feel like I contributed as an athletic trainer. If I'm not invested, as you're saying, or into this, my gosh, a 12-hour day for what I just, what am I doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Again, and I'm not trying to downplay anything, but, if I could have a clinic job where, you work regular hours, well, that's fine. Hopefully you're invested in your patients. And I'm sure, most places are. And that's what you do. But, I like to think I'm invested in the team and I, care about this team. And I like winning. Winning's better than losing.
Absolutely. What's it like for you I know for you, just seeing all those guys from, the mid 80s teams and the 98 team and the John Beeline teams. I'm sure you've probably got some great relationships that you've built over the years with some of these guys who are now adults and dads.
Yeah. You would be amazed at how much time I spend in the summer with those alumni. Deshaun's recent hiring, I probably won't spend 4 or 5 hours a day with him in the summer. But now we still text a lot. But yeah, this past summer with COVID, we didn't allow any of the alumni in. But in the summer, I spend a lot of time because a lot of them come back here to use the weight room, to use this practice facility, and then they use my services for free. But they're good guys. But there's sometimes in the summer I have to tell them, look, we're here for this time. I'm not here all day for you.
Right.
You know? So, but the alumni, they're great guys. It's amazing how many still reach out, through Facebook Messenger, texting, and different things. Or, like you said, when they come back for that alumni weekend, or, Joe Mazzulla was down in the fall. What a great success story that is, and everything.
Absolutely.
So yeah, when you see the alumni at different times, oh yeah, it definitely feels good.
And you just mentioned Deshaun Butler. When you think back, if you've watched basketball, West Virginia basketball, probably the most memorable injury that really stands out, I guess, just due to the fact that it was so emotional, was the Final Four weekend. He was on his way to be drafted, and just the response that, from Coach Huggins. I mean, there's photos of it. Can you think of any other times that there's been injuries like that where you just honestly just felt for the kid. And I mean, obviously they're all, you feel bad for them when you know they're really injured, all of them. But is that one that really just stands out to you when you think back of having to go out and help one of the student athletes?
Yeah, social media and everything else. And then, let's be honest, my whole career, that's the only time I've been to the Final Four. I'd like to go back every year, but they don't always listen to me, and, we don't get that far. But, the stage, Final Four, Deshaun, that whole year, I mean, how he was so crucial in finishing the games and getting the game-winning shot and everything. And for him to go out like that, that was definitely, even when you were describing it, I was still getting some chills up and down my back. And, over the summers, we've discussed that many times. I can't tell you how many times he said, I don't know why I had to drive. I should have just shot it, So, it affects him. But I'll tell you, Deshaun is we think of that as the final thing, and I just still give him credit for everything he's done in Europe and everything else. But at the same time, there's the Deshaun I like to brag about is when he sprained his ankle rather severely the day before a game, and then he goes out and scores 43 against Villanova.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
he wasn't even going to play, Anthony. He was not even going to play.
We couldn't get him. I couldn't get him ready for shoot around, and he was disappointed because coach was like, I think we're ready to say, well, that's it. But I was like, well, we got a couple more hours left. We still got warm ups. I'm like, you either got to try and prove yourself or not. And Deshaun's obviously a huge competitor and can fight through anything, almost anything. And so we go back to the athletic training room and start treating it again and start working on it, and try and be a confidence builder too. And then he gets out there and he's like, I'm just not going to think about it. And then he lights him up for 43. So that was a success story there.
Well, as much as we love you, we hate to see you on television because that means something bad has happened.
Anthony, I can't agree with you more. Billy's full of sayings. I'm big on no business is good business. Yeah. I've been saying a couple times to a client, I don't get paid by the amount of treatments or amount of work I do. I'm fine if I have no work to do, because then we're healthy. Yeah. So I don't need to be seen. I'm not here to be seen.
Doc, I can't thank you enough. We're gonna wrap it up here. We know you're busy. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for all taking care of the past players, taking care of coaches. Anthony, Doc gave me my rehab exercises when I had my hip replaced October the 22nd. Here's a great example of Randy Meador. This says it all. Now, Randy Meador doesn't have to give me the time of day. I retired. I'm not involved anymore. He opens up his doors, opens up his training room, lets me come in, rehabs my whole hip. For 3 weeks, he rehabs me. And my hip surgeon says, man, I've never seen a hip this good. What have you been doing? I said, I've been seeing Randy Meador every day, and he's been giving my treatments. Can't thank you enough, Doc. You're the best.
Oh, I appreciate it. And again, that's just another success story, and that's what we're here for, trying to make people better. And so it's all good. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy it.
All right.
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks a lot, Randy.
All right. Bye-bye now.
So that was Randy Meador, head basketball. I'm sorry, he's the head athletic trainer. And just going back a little bit in his bio, when I was reading about, wanted to kind of read a little bit about him. And we're breaking up there, so we apologize. But reading a little bit, he was actually worked with football in the early 80s, and then in 85 was permanently assigned to his position with the basketball team. So he's been there with Coach Catlett, Coach Beeline, and now Coach Huggins. He's seen a lot of big wins and some heartbreaking losses. But he's the man you see when the guys get hurt. He's the man that comes out there and takes care of them. He does a hell of a good job.
Sure does.
He even helped me out when I was up there with you. Was it not this year? Last year I came up and I remember I had a headache. My head was banging, and helped me out with some Advil, whatever he took, and that set in, and I was able to drive back to Morgantown because it was looking a little iffy there for a minute.
He's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let's do our text to win trivia question of the week. And this week, again, the phone number 681-231-2632. Again, 681-231-2632. And the question is, how many McDonald's All-Americans have played at West Virginia? And you have to name them. You have to name them. How many McDonald's All-Americans have played at West Virginia University? And give me their names. Again, 681-231-2632. West Virginia takes on the Oklahoma Sooners Saturday. And big game. Obviously, West Virginia is sitting in second place, but the Sooners are right behind them. What do you expect to see Saturday in the Coliseum?
Saturday, I think, will be a game that we will be very hungry to get, because if we recall the first time we played them at Oklahoma, we gave Oklahoma a chance to come back and beat us, which they did. And I think we're going to be hungry. I think we're going to be motivated. I think we got a little revenge on our minds. And if you recall, the last time we played them, that game got a little chippy because what is it, Manic, is that his name? Manic, the white kid?
Mm-hmm.
He was stepping in front of Derek Culver. Derek was running down the floor, and he would just stand in front of him and take charging fouls while the guy's running down the floor.
Yeah,
it
that's
got a little chippy. I remember that. It was I thought it was a little bush league and little out of character for a Lon Kruger type coach team, and I was sort of surprised that Lon Kruger allowed that to happen. But I think that's going to be a big thing on our team's minds. I'm sure Hugs and the staff, I'm sure they will they always put a highlight tape together. And I'm sure they're going to have 3 or 4 of those things on that highlight tape to get our guys ready on Saturday. And what do they got, 2,500 fans coming on Saturday?
I think
Anthony?
They upped it to 25 or 28. They announced today that there are tickets available. So if you're listening, we're recording now at Thursday night. And from what I understand, I got an email from Michael Fergale that tomorrow morning, on Friday morning, February the 12th, they're going to release more tickets. So you'll be able to get tickets. So if you're listening tonight or first thing in the morning at 9 a.m., you can get more tickets and check out the Mountaineers on Saturday. And I do remember that, Coach. And if I remember correctly, they were able to get Derek Culver out of his game by bullying him almost.
Absolutely. Yep.
And he's got to remember, because I remember specifically coming on here and saying, discussing with you that that's something that he has to make sure that he keeps under control, because they took him out of his game and he was too concerned about getting bumped around, and he was wearing his emotions on his sleeve, and he cannot let that happen on Saturday.
Exactly. Saturday.
He has to.
We'll see what happens.
Yep, I think it's going to be a good ball game. Well, Coach, I'm going to leave it to you. I'm going to leave the final word to you, as we always do. But before I do, I want to thank our sponsors, the Warner Law Offices. Get in touch with them at 345-6789. Alfred Home Solutions, United Bank, and the Dell Sparks Collection, and of course, our partner, the Gazette, the Charleston Gazette Mail, and HD Media. And Coach, I'll leave the last word to you.
Well, like I always finish the show, great day to be alive. Count your blessings. If you're worrying, you're not praying. If you're praying, you're not worrying. God bless all the Mountaineer fans, and let's go Mountaineers.
The Press Virginia podcast is produced by Anthony Lewis in partnership with HD Media and the Charleston Gazette Mail. The Press Virginia podcast is presented by Warner Law Offices. Now's the time. Call 345-6789 and is sponsored by United Bank, West Virginia's bank. Offered Home Solutions, fixing homes inside and out since 1963. The Charleston Gazette Mail and the Dale Sparks Collection.